Before I start showing you my haberdashery, I did buy some 1940s printed cotton recently. I wanted to show you because I do think the design is so pretty. It was French cotton, and I'm just now looking at my box. This is of antique trimmings, and if you have any ideas on what I might do with these gorgeous trimmings, like the glass blackberries for example, do let me know, because I can't resist these things when I see them, but I don't always have a project lined up for them. It's very naughty. I love the colours in the lilac, yellow and white of these flowers, and I'm sure they would be nice hat trimming or something. I'm sure there's a project for them. And just seeing what I've got in this bag. These are actually a pair of sleeves, and I believe they're antique, perhaps Edwardian sleeves, and they would look fine though, wouldn't they, on a 1930s dress. I love the combination of lace embroidery, cream and black. And here I have, it's a 1920s trimming in this lovely pale pink and cream, and a pretty tulle and embroidered collar. And this is a little dress inset from the 1920s or 30s, so I absolutely must think of a project for that. And it's really good to go through and unwrap all the tissue paper and see all the lovely finds that I've gathered over the years, and remind myself that I really need to start including them in my projects. These are lingerie inserts, and I do want to sew some lingerie this year. Have some pretty lingerie rayon from the 30s and 40s to make up, and I think that collar is a bit special, isn't it? And all the tape lace, all the work that they put into producing these things. This is lingerie ribbon for kind of threading through lace work. I have a few of these tape lace for the fronts of dresses, and I think that they will add an ethereal touch, maybe to some of them to woolen garments. That's some of my pretty 1930s collars, which I would of course combine with 1930s fabric in a 30s dress. This is a really jolly looking one, I think, with the colourful flowers and that little edging. So many pretty things. And I love the 3D look of that collar. And this is a little jabot from either the late 20s or the 30s, like this embroidered collar. And as I was going through, I was trying to think what might go together. The trimming is 1920s. It's a different shade of purple, but might still look really pretty together, I'm thinking. And wouldn't that just be lovely on the front of a dress? I've been collecting these things for over the course of many years, and I really want to start using them. It's a pretty little jabot as well. And look at this dramatic, glorious thing. I don't even remember where I got some of these. I'm always on the lookout. I go to vintage fairs all the time, check vintage sellers on Instagram. And I also, this is rather marvellous, isn't it? I live in an area with a lot of vintage shops and vintage fairs going on all the time. So there is constant temptation. This is actually pieces from 1920s lame that had been, the pieces for a bodice had been cut out. I need to piece them together and see. This is a rather gorgeous thing, still on its original paper, rather fragile. So I wouldn't put that on an everyday dress, but I think it's important to use all these things. And these beaded appliques these are from the 1930s, and I must think of a project for those too. And I bought these recently at a vintage fair. They're actually antique. They're quite an age, those ones. And I keep all these little gorgeous things. I find these I do a lot of embroidery, but I find embroidered appliques so pretty and very difficult to resist. I keep everything just wrapped in tissue paper and in boxes. And these are, as I'm sure you recognise, table mats from the 1940s. My mother volunteers in a charity shop, or thrift store as you'd say, in America, and she found these for me. And I think that I will put them on some kind of perhaps Halloween costume or autumnal costume anyway. We're still going through these gorgeous things. I'll add that to perhaps the waistband of a dress. And this is actually Victorian embroidered trim, and the card wanted the tape, but I don't think I can bear to touch it because the sign is just so beautiful. And lingerie insets for when I do my night dresses and slips. And these bows are from the 1930s, and I can imagine them either down the centre front of a dress or perhaps one on each shoulder. And you can see those roses have a little bit of padding under the embroidery to give them that three-dimensional look. And these have been, somebody has kind of cut them off something. They're can-can dancers, and they're so fun. I've absolutely no idea how I'm going to use them, but I'm sure I'll find something. Some gorgeous 1930s garnet coloured bows and more sequined embroidered 1930s trims. I love the pink and green colouring of these ones. And look at these vintage sequin bumblebees. I have to find a project for those, don't I? And these my mum found in a vintage fair recently. look at these rather special pockets, I mean, you wouldn't use them actually as pockets, but there's two of them. What a gorgeous decoration on a dress they would be. They're from either the 20s or the 30s in that lovely coral colour. And some beaded appliques on their original cards. I don't think I could bear to remove them from their original cards. I should frame them really. Just getting more boxes out to show you the kind of full extent of the collection really. They're all, well, in these boxes or vintage tins. And this is my full collection and all organised now. But I also wanted to show you a rather gorgeous piece which I got recently for all my embroidery threads. I've started transferring the embroidery threads I just had in these clear plastic bags, all in a big carpet bag, but I thought it'd be much easier if I arranged them all in this wonderful original Clark's Anchor organizer. So I'm just going through with all my colourful threads, trying to get them in some kind of order, and I think this will be so helpful for my embroidery where I can see all the shades that I have. In fact, it was quite a tight fit and I couldn't even get all my embroidery threads in there, but I broke off the organising to go to visit Aplpacas, and these are alpacas that are kept for their fleece, but don't worry about them, they have a lovely life, they're allowed to retire. There were some very old alpacas there. And there were also these rather wonderful animals. I'll put up the name. Were they guernicas or something? Look at him. He was an alpaca. Can't remember his name now, but rather gorgeous. And of course, I did come back with just a little bit of fibre, a gorgeous silken alpaca fibre, which I'll use for a doll's hair. And I was also given the gingery hairy stuff, which was waste product actually. It's just been thrown out, but I thought it would make rather wonderful doll's hair. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope that you enjoyed looking through my collection with me in preparation for doing a bit of stash busting, and any ideas you have for me will be gratefully received. So until next time, bye.